Welcome back, everybody, to the Teach, Inspire and Grow podcast here with Helen Hughes. I have such a lovely guest with me today that we're going to be talking, of course, all about swim, but something that's very special today. I have the lovely Stacy here with me. But before we get going, are you okay me asking this question?
Yeah.
Are you on the edge of your seat?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. What's your very first memory of water? And how do you think that memory has shaped the way that you see swimming today?
Aw, I love that. My first memory of water and how it shaped how I see swimming. So it's actually interesting because which we'll get to, have been thinking a lot about that time of my life. And I went to a swim school. I went to swim lessons when I was younger, and it was a place called Pool School. And I have like very particular memories of that time. So I remember the day my brother was born, I was at swim lessons and I knew he was born because my aunt came to pick me up. Like things like that. And then also I remember like very specific lessons that I was taught. So I don't remember like the full day of lessons, but I remember like sayings or imagery that my teacher, I had an amazing teacher named Miss Andrea who was incredible. And I was thinking a lot about that time. And it's interesting because I don't even think I realized I remembered all of it. But then thinking back, like I can remember her saying little sayings. And I think that must have been a time that things unlocked for me, or that like I learned a new skill.
Yeah.
Like for example, freestyle arms, she taught us like they were like windows. And when your arm's in front of you, it's the window's closed, but then when you pull your arm behind you, the window's open, and that's when you can breathe. So like things like that, like I actually remember. To the second part of your question, I think that because I just had such a great experience at swim lessons, I loved it. I like wanted to keep going and moving up. My parents actually put me on a swim team right after swim lessons. And honestly, like I just never stopped. I went right from swim lessons into swim team. And then I did multiple swim teams, and it was just a part of my life ever since. So I think that all really does go back to those first swim lessons when I was like, young.
And what's your youngest that you can remember then? At what age can you remember?
So I joined my first swim team when I was 5, and that means I knew I could do every single stroke legally by the time I was 5, which I actually have a funny story about that. But so I must have been 4, 3, maybe. I was in mommy and me classes, so I don't like remember her bopping me around. But she had me in some lessons from mommy and me classes all the way through. So my first memories are probably like 3 or 4 years old.
And so your mum got in the lessons with you. So you did the mommy and me class. So you're in the water with your mum. So you must have had a really nice experience with your mum in the water then.
Yeah.
For you to want to, because sometimes, because sometimes there's a disjoint of the mummy and me classes of where then the child really doesn't want to like almost go off on their own. They don't want to carry on. For you, it just seemed to be that nice flow from that to being with the teacher. So did you have that one teacher that you mentioned then for that swim, that 1 or 2 years before you started swim team, or was it the swim team teacher that you had that said about the imagery?
So she was like at the swim lesson place. And it's interesting, thinking back, I thought I had her in every class. Like I thought she was the only teacher because she's the only one I remember. And I was actually talking to my mom about this recently, and she said, oh, you actually really wanted to get into Mr. David's class, and that was what motivated you. Poor Mr. David. I do not remember him. I didn't even know there was Mr. David. So all I remember is Miss Andrea. She was like the person who I think really helped me fall in love.
Yeah, shaped the way that you were thinking forwardly. But that to me is such a nice story because you had such a positive right from the get-go. And then we'll get into obviously what you're doing now, but without that, there's a lot of children that miss out on all of that if they hadn't had that first starting point. So that's really great. When you said you went into then the team at 5, what was different between the swimming lessons and then swim team?
I don't know if you guys have it over there in the UK, we have something called summer swim team, which so I'm from New Jersey on the East
Right.
Coast of the United States, and so we have all 4 seasons. And so obviously you can't swim outside in particular in the winter or the fall. And so we have these things called summer swim teams that are actually where I grew up, there was a ton of swim teams that were just in the summer, maybe 8 to 10 weeks long. So it's like not that big of a lift. It's a little bit less competitive than like a year-round club swim team. So for that, like being 5, 6 years old, at least 8 and under, like you're doing like 25s, you're doing like one lap of every stroke. I think maybe when I really like got good at 8, that was the first time I ever did 100 IM 4 laps.
Right.
So it wasn't really anything crazy. It was like one lap and that was the race. And I think that was such a good like next step coming from swim lessons going into swim team, but it's not like the uber competitive year round.
Yeah. So do you have open air pools then, or do you have indoor pools?
So actually, it's interesting. We have open air pools,
Right.
and a lot of times they're like community pools. So it's in your town, there's a pool, an outdoor pool that people can go to, usually again, just in the summer, and then it's closed
Right.
the whole rest of the year. We obviously have indoor pools too. But what's interesting is I grew up actually on a lake. And when I say lake, it's not, it's like it's a pond. It's 3 miles around to walk the entire way around. Like you can't boat on it. So it's called a lake, but
it's a miniature lake.
It's a miniature lake. Yeah. And our lake had a swim team also. And the area that I grew up in, there were a lot of these little lakes that there would be like a bunch of communities. And so that swim team was also one that like I had been on, and a ton of kids in my neighborhood would be on that swim team. So really, yes, we have outdoor pools, but we also have these little lakes, the big ponds, and they all have swim teams. And there's actually, it's pretty incredible. Like where I grew up, there is enough large ponds for 2 swim leagues. So there's that many.
Crikey. And what's the quality of the water like then? Is it really clear or?
No, it's horrible. Oh my God. It's okay. So my lake, this is so gross. When you jumped in, you would get brown stuff on every single follicle of hair. And being like, I was like a young girl, like a teenager, and it's like embarrassing. You would hop out of the water, like just gross stuff all over you. No, it was disgusting. You couldn't see the wall. So when you're swimming in to do a flip turn, you cannot see the wall. I mean, it's not, but it gets us in the water.
I'm intrigued. Are they like man-made then? Are they, because you're saying that there's a wall, so it's not like a mud in and out. You actually have reinforced walls around the whole thing.
So not around the whole lake. They put in flotation walls. So they float. Right. And maybe there's like an anchor at the bottom, but like they are floating, and it's like a normal 6-lane flip turn wall.
Neat.
Yeah, and it's only there. It's 25 meters apart from each other. There were lane lines.
Oh wow!
It was. We were legit. You couldn't see anything.
No, I know. So did you have to change like the style of your swimming then? Because if you couldn't see, you tend to have to do more of a water polo style, surely, to spot where you're going.
100%. Yeah, it was like that. Pros and cons. I wouldn't say it was like the best technique of swimming you're ever going to get, because you got to see where you're going. So for sure, to go into your flip turn, it's a big no-no, but you had to lift your head straight to see the wall.
You're there at least.
Yeah. So it was, you had to make some adjustments for sure. It was a little bit more water polo style, to your point.
But how cool to have that experience though as well, because ultimately, if you think about it, we're preparing children or to encounter things like that, because that's naturally where people would potentially go and have a bit of a dip, or we're trying to enable them to be safe around not just the swimming pool, because obviously in America more specifically, certain states would have more pools, wouldn't they?
Yes.
So therefore, it's really important that you do learn water safety around your own pool and so forth, community pools. But then if you are then in a state of where you've got these lakes and big ponds and other bodies of water, then how cool is that to be able to even just use it in essence rather than just leaving it to for people to, because you're actually learning what that style of water is all about. Because otherwise, if you've only been experienced in that controlled setting of a clean pool, you can actually see where you're going. And do you think that it gave you some extra skills from experiencing that?
So I by that time was like a year-round competitive swimmer. Right. And so I would say it not really. I think that one was a little just more fun for me to do. But I will say in my neighborhood, there were a ton of kids who, like, I identified as a swimmer. Like, I think there's some of us who are like, I am a swimmer. This is me. Yeah. But there were kids in my neighborhood who didn't identify as a swimmer. There were 2 boys on the swim team. One went on to play baseball at a very high level, but he also swam on our high school team when we got older, and he was incredible. And he never did like a year-round swim team. It was only that summer swimming, and and obviously he was athletic, but he stayed in the sport enough to be able to swim on high school in between playing baseball. There was also a boy who went on to play American football in college, which is that's very hard. And he did the swim team in the summers. So I think that for all the kids in the neighborhood, it just kept them in the sport. It was something to do. A lot of them became lifeguards at that lake. And so I think for them, like, there were kids who were able to continue in the sport because they had
that. Otherwise, do you think that they probably wouldn't have bothered? They would have.
100%. Because I think what's nice about that is there's like a middle ground between being a year-round swimmer, which I mean, it's a lot. Like, it's a massive commitment, a massive amount of time and effort and energy. And I think it's really nice that there was like a happy medium.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's missing really here in the UK, is that then it's almost like one or nothing. You either you finish, it's almost like your stages that goes up to, Swim England do up to 10 supposedly, but most places do about 7. And then you tend to, then there are feeders of like diving and artistic swimming, but not many places really offer that, because it's a speciality. You have to be trained in it, and if you're not really an artistic swimmer yourself, then you're not really going to try and take on those sessions. I know I certainly wouldn't be able to, based on how amazing that they are.
I could never.
But, so you either then carry on to do, like you said, the year-round coaching route, or they just stop because there's no real again another level for them. Say for instance, my son, he's 10, he loves to swim, but there isn't anything for him to enjoy, because otherwise they'd be going up and down, and he just doesn't want to do that. So it's great that they had that. So so how often were you training?
So I was training probably, so when I was younger, like 8 and under, I just did that summer swim team, which actually was once a day, but it was like, it was fun. It was super fun. They made it super fun. So that was like every day for 6 to 8 weeks. Then when I joined my first year-round swim team, I was probably doing 3 days a week, something like that. Again, nothing too crazy. I also played football. And I think having multiple sports also really helped. Like, I definitely would encourage that to not necessarily. It was just good to have a break and then do something different and then come back. And I don't think it hurt to be away from the pool for a bit at that age, like 10, 11, 12.
Absolutely.
And then when I went into high school, that was when I became like a full year-round swimmer for 5 days a week, except I probably never went 5 days a week. I was not. I definitely was hitting burnout by that time, and I was just like trying to hang on, survive.
So was that the team then with your high school, or was there a separate team?
So I did both. I did my high school swim team, and I was doing my club swim team. So I was doing 2 swim teams.
Wow.
There was a summer I was on 3 swim teams at once.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you wake up that morning and think, what pool am I in tonight then?
My poor parents, I think at that age, I was just like, take me, like, where are we going? My
Yeah.
poor parents somehow had to keep track of who had the swim meet, what pool or
Right.
body of water do we have to go to. And my brother also was a swimmer, so
Oh
they
my
had both
goodness.
of us. Yeah.
Wow. So were your parents quite big into into water then,
No.
or swimming? No?
Nope. My parents never they, like, know how to swim,
Right.
but they were not swimmers. They had never,
Right.
ever done competitive swimming in their life. Truly, we were just like I kinda hope in sharing this, like, I think we were a good example of that pipeline
Yeah.
that you were talking about of, like, you can just almost keep going,
Yeah.
and that's what we did, and my parents loved it, like, they loved the sport. My dad became an official, so
Oh,
he would
okay.
officiate our swim meets. Yeah, it was, like, such a family
Yeah.
thing that we
You
did.
made it yeah, you made it something to do as a family to go to meets, and
Yeah.
because it literally, I think swimming's probably one of the sports that really does consume the whole family. Because I know there are a lot of sports out there that does need that commitment.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is, but swimming seems to be like up there. of
Yeah.
the, so what then? So you went through to high school, and then what made you then start? Because your next, did you become? What did you do? Did you start teaching, or like what happened there?
Yeah, yeah, and again, this is, like, what I love about the sport is if you're a swimmer and you stay in it, you're gonna like, lifeguarding exactly is, like, a next step. Doing swim lessons is the next step. So I did all of that. I became a lifeguard, I was doing swim lessons at our local YMCA. I think I was doing some swim lessons with my swim team also, like, we had
Okay.
swim lessons for the younger kids that the older kids were, like, helping with.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I went on to do swim coaching. So I've just
And
never left.
you did that because you just wanted to keep going. Did you carry on competing yourself, or did you come away from that and just concentrate on coaching?
Yeah, so when I went graduated high school, swam all the way through high school. College, I was not good enough to do, like,
Right.
college level swimming, but I also didn't want to.
Right.
Like, that's just I
Done.
that's a different level,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I was not at.
Right.
But I went to a very big university. There was a club for everything,
Right.
and I didn't really intend on sticking with swimming because at that time I was, like, so tired. All
Done.
those years, like, I didn't really think I was gonna stay with it, but I got to college and I was, like, looking around, what clubs am I gonna join? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna make friends?
Yeah.
And, of course, I joined the club swim team because what else are you gonna do? Of course. And, again, it was, like, the best decision of my life. My best friends are from club swimming.
Nice.
Like, my best friends, people who were in my wedding,
Oh,
and then from that we were, like, student coaches, like, we
right.
didn't have somebody, so I coached the club swim team,
Oh, okay.
and then one summer, to really bring this story all the way around,
Yeah.
a local pond, big lake small lake, big pond, was looking for a coach,
Yeah.
and so I applied.
Yeah.
I think I applied to be the assistant coach because I was young, I was, like, 22, and they were like, "Why don't you just be the head coach?" And I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
oh, can I?
okay.
Can I?" And so at 22, I was the
Wow.
head coach of a summer swim team for 2 years.
Oh, how did you find that experience?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was for sure some learnings of just dealing with the parents and how do you put swimmers in a swim meet correctly, and then me being responsible for every practice and making sure, like, there was a plan.
Yeah.
So, it was a big learning curve, but to be honest, like, I was ready for it, funny enough. It's that saying of the 10,000 hours,
Mm.
like, you become an expert, and by that time, I had been doing the sport for so long that I felt actually comfortable in that role.
Everything, you go into these situations and you can either embrace it or you think, oh, and then, but then if you
Yeah.
immerse yourself into it and know that you need to learn a little bit, then
Yeah.
it grows you as a person as well as professionally too.
Yeah.
And I guess seeing it from a different perspective, because of being the one on the receiving end to now be the
Yeah.
person that's actually creating the back end of it, or the, I guess, a little bit of admin more so as well that you needed to do.
Yes. A lot more admin.
Yeah.
A lot more responsibility. Yeah, being in a swim meet is very different when you're not the one swimming. That is the funniest part. It's so hot, like whether it's the summer or just on a pool deck. I
Yeah.
don't think I ever realized how hot it is
Yeah.
on pool decks. And all the kids are like freezing, and
Yeah.
I'm like, it's so hot, you guys.
You like sweltering there, like.
I'm like, I would love to jump in and swim. You have no idea.
You're like, can I just dip my toes in just to get a little bit
Yeah.
cooler?
Yeah. And they're like, oh,
Oh dear. So how did that lead you then to what you're essentially doing today?
so there was actually like almost a 10-year gap, not
Right.
to reveal my age, but there was like a 10-year gap between that head coaching job and then I did nothing in the sport. Like
Okay.
graduated college, went on, got a job, did what I thought you were supposed to do. And probably about 3 years ago, I just missed it so much. Like I just really felt like there was a part of me that was missing, and
Yeah.
I really wanted to get back on to a swim team and in the world. And I ended up applying for a local swim team. I
Okay.
think within 24 hours got an email back and they were like, you have an
Yes.
interview on
We
Monday.
need you.
Yeah. Yeah. So within a week of applying, and I got the job within a week.
Yeah.
And then so I've been doing that. And again, like I think even taking that time off and getting back into it is okay. I really do love this, and I really, because I think when you're younger, it's just the thing that you're doing and it's,
Right.
oh, like that's all I do. Like I need to do other things. But it was a good wake up call. No, like you actually love doing this and
Right.
it's important.
Yeah.
And then so got back into swim coaching. And then from that, it was by accident that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write a couple kids' books about swimming.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, about the swim strokes. So that we could chat about, but that was honestly came out of nowhere.
Oh, that's cool. So before we go on to your books, because
Yeah.
hello.
Ah.
How cool are these?
Thank
Sweet,
you. They made it across the pond.
they did make it across a very big pond.
This is a big pond.
Yeah, I really love them. Before we get on to those bad boys, I wanted to know, because you had that little bit of a gap then of 10 years, which is quite a substantial amount of time for you as an individual. How did you notice a difference? Did anything change in the industry?
Such a good question. Yes and no. I think in the industry, like when I'm at swim practice or with the swim team, honestly, it feels very much the same as
Right.
when I was a kid growing up. And that's what I love about it. It almost time, like the sport is such a classic sport and like the strokes aren't going to change. The technology, like really for eight and unders, like we're not using the technology, like we're not filming them underwater or anything. So it's still very similar and I love that. But I would say I changed for sure, where I think I see it from a much more macro place of this is just fun, you guys. Like I just want them to have fun. I want it to a place that they enjoy. Like I think that it's funny because obviously some of my other swim coaches are like, you gotta go this time. And I work with young kids I work with the littles.
Right.
So I'm like, you did so great. Oh, and I more am like, I want them to have fun. I want them to make friends and just have the kind of same experience I had when I was on swim teams where I just loved it and I made such good friends and lifelong friends. So I would say that's the biggest change is I just look at it like way more for the social. And obviously I want them to
Oh,
get better and swim well, but that's almost
definitely.
secondary.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's, I guess what you were saying as well, that with the other coaches as well as being very drill specific, do you think that makes you make you think, oh no, I actually really like my style? Because that way that potentially could turn little ease off, whereas if you're there doing it, then you know that, oh, they're going to enjoy wanting to come to practice. And
Yeah, I hope so. We have great coaches on the swim team, so everyone does great, but for sure we all have different styles.
yeah.
And there are times where sometimes if someone's covering and working with the little kids and they don't always work with the little kids, I could tell, like, sometimes the way they're explaining things, I'm just like,
Right.
they're not gonna get that. They don't understand the body positioning or, like, the buoyancy or the drag, like, I'm more like, "Be a pencil. Think about a pencil and be a pencil."
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's where I do hope to, like, make it make sense
Yeah.
to that age group, and then when they get older, like, I'm also a believer, you can make changes, like, you can and
Right.
that's the whole sport is, like, getting better and getting your strokes faster and
Mhm.
making changes, and I guess I just believe there are things that it's okay to do when you're 8, and
Right.
then if you stick with it and you're 11, we can change it,
Yeah.
like, you're gonna grow, you're gonna get stronger, so
Yeah. You can
that's kind of
refine
my
it.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They're growing physically anyway in themselves,
right,
aren't they? So what they're potentially doing at that earlier age isn't necessarily how they're going to be performing it at 11, 12 years old anyway, because muscle mass
right,
increases and yeah. But
exactly.
with your with because this is so cool because obviously with your terminology then that's come also then probably from what was your teacher's name again, Miss Alexandra? No,
Miss Andrea, very
Andrea.
close, Miss
That
Andrea,
was really
yeah, yeah.
good. So then you thought one day, ooh, I'm gonna write a book. Like, how did that come up? There's not many people that think I'm gonna write a book.
I know. So I was bored out of my mind one day, like, I just had nothing to do. I didn't even have a dog to take on a walk. I had nothing to do, and I was like, "Alright, don't scroll on your phone, don't watch TV, like, you gotta do something."
Yeah.
And it was maybe, like, a year after getting back into swim coaching,
Yeah.
and I realized what we're talking about. There were things that I was saying at practice that I was like, "I should just write these down," because to bring it all together, it was stuff that I had been taught when I was younger that I'd remembered, and I just was like, "I should write it down just in case I ever forget." So that was the activity I decided to do. So I,
Right.
like, open my computer, start just typing. I have no plans. I'm just typing.
Yeah.
And within 5 minutes, I ended up writing a poem about swimming breaststroke. So I was making it rhyme by accident. I wasn't trying
Wow.
to. And it was a lightning bolt moment where I just went from never ever having thought about writing a kids book to, "Oh, I'm gonna write a kids book series. It's gonna be 4 books. Each book is gonna be a stroke, and it's gonna be called Pool School," because that's where I went to some
Yeah.
lessons. And then it was just like I was off to the races. Yeah.
Just going for it. So did
Yeah.
you like how did the process because when they say oh writer's block or anything like that, did it just completely flow out? Or did you
Yeah.
take a while to put it together or did it just so
It
natural?
the It was so natural. I feel this is gonna sound so cheesy, but it was like the stories were, like, already there, and I just had to write it, which
Yeah.
sounds so cheesy, but it
No?
was true. And it's funny because it took about 3 weeks, and I wrote the first draft, but I wrote the first draft of all 4 books
Right.
because I wanted there to be a through line. It's the same group of kids in all 4 stories,
Right.
so I wanted to, like, figure out their names, and there were things, like, as I was writing one book and then I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea," and then I would go back and make sure that was in the earlier books. So it only took about 3 weeks to write the first
Oh.
draft. It was a horrible draft. It's so funny
Do you still have
going back
it?
and yeah,
You
I still
kept
have it.
it.
I have oh my gosh, there's elements that are the same, but, oh, it's 300 words longer than what is currently in the book. Yeah, it was not great, but it was
It was
enough
a
to be like
starting point.
it was a starting point, and it was enough to be like, "I think that this actually
Would work.
could be something."
Yeah. So you wrote all 4 books, and so what made you decide to do the order of bringing them out to the world?
Great question, great question. I think it's the order that I would teach, like, in an
Right.
idyllic world, like, it's obviously not that black and white, but, like,
No.
it's closest to the order that I would genuinely teach
Yeah.
the strokes, and I think also I just think, like, freestyle in the book, like, it's their first day of class, so that one makes the most sense, and then
Right.
I think I can't do butterfly first. I was like, "I can't come out with breaststroke first, it just doesn't It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. So it was the order that I ended up writing. I just always knew the order that it was going to be.
Yeah. So freestyle,
backstroke, breaststroke, and then butterfly.
Then butterfly. Interesting. So tell us, so the story then is the first, I have them here and I have read them and they're brilliant.
Thank you.
So on freestyle, you've got that little group of, and it's the girl, isn't it, that has her first lesson?
Yes. Kim.
Yes.
Kim so that's Kim and her mom. And so yeah, and the other thing I wanted to do is each book focuses on one kid in particular. Yeah. So obviously the first book is Kim, and then the second book is Zach, because it rhymes with back. So his name's Zach. Of course. And in each book there's a swim lesson. So they're gonna learn freestyle or backstroke. There's some other stuff, but there's also like a life lesson in each book that I try to bake in. So that also was important to me. There's something a little bit more in each book.
Yeah. And also what I really loved was that you, rather than having a human as a teacher, not to give the book away, but I have to say that.
Go for it. Yeah,
please. You have to buy the book. How cute. Adorable. And tell me if I'm wrong, but is it because maybe children relate to animals or find I don't know, you explain. That was what my first thought was.
You are spot on, but interesting. In the first drafts of the book, it was Miss Andrea who was the swim instructor.
Yes.
And then she would bring in her friend who was like this animal. And the woman who actually helped me edit the books, she was the one who was like, and she put it so well. She basically said, kids listen to adults all day long. Sorry, Miss Andrea, but we don't actually need her in the books. Like, it's better for kids to learn from an animal. It's exactly what you said.
Oh, no, it's really lovely. Really nice. And also what I really liked at the end as well, you've also added on a coach's corner, which is really helpful. So you're writing for parents for when the children are learning their strokes to go side by side? Is that what your thought process was?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, my dream is that kids and parents, they have these books on their shelves. It's like in the rotation. Yeah. And a parent is reading the book with their child. It's early reader level. So like kids can read it. But really my hope is that like a parent who maybe like my parents, like they don't know how to teach breaststroke. They don't know how to teach floating. And I will say first, this is not at all trying to replace what you do in the water. It's not trying to replace swim instructors. Like, absolutely not. You need swim instructors. You need people who know what they're doing. So I just put that out. Yeah. It's not like you can read this book and you'll learn how to swim. Not that at all. But I did want it to be just like an added resource. So like a parent, you're reading it, you have no clue how to tell your child how to do a freestyle kick correctly. And in the book, like there's it all rhymes. So my hope is that you remember it. And then if you have a pool in your backyard or like you're going to your local pool, you have, as a parent, you have something that you can pull out and say, okay, there's something in the book about freestyle arms, not to give it away, but it was like, pick an apple from a tree, put it in the basket behind me. So my hope is you can remember that, and then you can do it with your child in the pool. Yeah. And the other thing is, let's say your child is like gunning into swim lessons, or they're new to swim lessons, and maybe they're afraid. Like, my hope is that if they read the books and they see the characters doing this stuff, like floating for the first time, and you see it, and then they hopefully won't be as afraid because they've learned the words, they see what it's going to look like, and then they can do it.
And there is a really great talking point as well, because when you were talking with Kim with her first lesson, it's almost you're talking it over together, but using something in order to do that, rather than saying, I know it's your first, it's not a direct to your child. You're using this as a facilitator to be able to talk about it, which I think is really lovely. And I think it then also helps parents to be able to fluidly do it, rather than it being, oh, not putting them on the spot type of thing.
Right.
And then again, with backstroke, a lot of children are quite scared of going on their backs, but talking it through with them, and like you're saying, it's seeing the fact that there is a very cute otter in there, and him thinking, oh, I'm feeling a little bit afraid. You can talk then about that emotion.
Yeah.
And so that it's really great and really cleverly written. So well done, you. Seriously.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So they have to, where can they go and buy one? Where have you got them at the moment?
So they are on Amazon. Both the books are on Amazon. And then I also have a website. So funny saying this. I have a website. It's called schoolswim.com, and you can get the books there also.
Okay. And is school spelled as in normal school, SCHOOL, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
It's that, isn't it? Not the, sometimes
not the
people write it SK, don't they? And you think, no, don't do that.
Wait, want to hear something so crazy? I went back and there's one artifact from my days at pool school when I was a kid. Right. And it was a little piece of paper that I got moved up to the next group. Yeah. And it was spelled SKOOL. And my mind, I was like, what do you mean it's spelled SKOOL? It was like the craziest. It was the craziest thing.
So was it actually spelled that way, or is it just someone had spelled it incorrectly?
I don't know. And I can't get it. I don't know because it's no longer there. Right. So there's no website.
Mystery.
So it's a mystery. And my parents don't remember how it was spelled, but I think it was SCHOOL. But this piece of paper says SKOOL.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
They're both out to get. When do you think you might get what's the next? So breaststroke's next. So when do you think that might come out?
So I am deep into getting that one going. So I think we're going to start illustrations on breaststroke in January. And then it takes about 6 months. The illustrator, Jess, to give her a shout out, she is from the UK. She's amazing. Right. So it takes about 6 months. So maybe early summer is the goal. And then my hope is to go right into butterfly and then have that ready at the end of next year.
Perfect. Oh, I wish you every success. Seriously.
Thank you.
Everybody that is watching this, you must go and get them because they are a brilliant addition. And it's obviously great because they are talking about specific strokes, whereas a lot of sort of children's other swim books are just very generic, whereas these are specific to the stroke. So it's really lovely and refreshing to have that. So and I like the fact that the children can read it as well. It's not just down to the parents to read it to them. So it's at that age group, so that's brilliant. But before we come to an end of our conversation, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
And I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. We often talk about what we teach swimmers, but what's one thing that a swimmer has taught you that you have never forgotten?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's probably a bit of a unspecific answer, but just working with the kids every week. Like what I was saying before, I think there's just such a joy that the kids have, even when it's a hard day, either they had a hard day at school or they genuinely don't want to be there. Yeah. And they are with their friends, they get a laugh, they get their bodies moving. And what's been happening recently, which is the best possible thing to come out of getting back into the sport, I can be having the worst day. It was a bad day at work. I'm stressed. I'm whatever. And I get to the pool and within 2 minutes, it all goes away. And I'm so happy. The kids, it's just for me, it's just such a joyful place. Yeah. Again, even if the kids are having a bad day or I'm having a bad day. And so I think that they just remind me it's okay to laugh. It's okay to have fun. A lot of the things that we stress about in daily life are not that important and literally can be forgotten for me in 5 minutes at a pool.
Absolutely.
So I think not a specific answer, but it's just.
I love that. No, I guess it's the simplicity of life, isn't it? And when you add water, it almost turns your mindset completely differently it almost eliminates from those stresses and strains from what you've had during the day. And then when you add the water or just just the feeling afterwards, even though you may have had a hard set or what have you, or you've doing whatever, it changes your mindset. In fact, I think it was Einstein that used to go out on his boat when he was wanting to think, and literally with being by water and on water and potentially in water, it changes people's mindset. No, it's perfect answer to the question.
Thank you. And where else can you go and you like put your phones down and you like the kids, they are looking at a black line on the bottom of the pool. They're away from technology for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at my phone or looking at emails. It's like a simpler time too. It's just okay, we can all just be together and have fun and work hard.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, it's been really lovely speaking to you, Stacey. Thank you so much. And I'll put a link in for your Pool School website for people to click onto. All right.
Awesome.
Hopefully
Thank you so much.
Soon when your next one come out.
Yes, I love that.
I'm wishing you all the success in the world for them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.